Welcome, everyone. Welcome to episode 24 of our What's with Health and Care podcast. And today we've got a special guest, Carly, with us. So Carly's going to have a conversation with us about kindness and how we talk to ourselves and what's behind that, and how can we talk to ourselves a bit more kindly. So Sue's here with us today. Hi, Sue.
Hi, everyone.
And welcome, Carly. Would you like to just introduce yourself first, please, Carly?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. So I am a health and wellness coach. I work primarily with women to create happier, healthier lives through health and wellness coaching.
Awesome.
So it's great to be here.
Well, that is kind of why we're here today a bit too, because we want to talk about that idea of, self-talk and how we're doing it and how that gets in the way of our health and wellness sometimes.
Yeah, it's important to our mental health and well-being, the way that we speak to ourselves.
100%. So, I mean, Celeste and I have talked about it before, where we've really noticed how people's self-talk, you notice it when you're working with clients and you're going, wow, I'm really seeing that, Yeah, what do you notice, Carly?
Yeah, I find that people, without even realising, are quite judgmental and hard on themselves. So you'll hear in their talk, oh, I should have done this, or I could have been better at this, or sometimes it's really quite nasty, and it's a very personal thing to them. So they might have issues with their weight, for example, and be like, oh, I'm so fat and I need to do this and be this, and it's so harsh. And something that, I often, I'm sure you both do as well, is you say, oh, how have you noticed this? Have you realized this pattern? Would you speak to your friend like this? And a lot of people are so surprised because they're not aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's that thing of they've gotten to such a habit of doing it over maybe, many years of their life.
I wonder where it comes from, Is it something that we learn from our environment, or do we pick it up from our family, or is it just unspoken cues? It's interesting.
Yeah, so is it an unconscious bias that we picked up from youth that we've brought with us into the future, with us as we've grown up? What were you going to say then, Carly? Sorry.
No, you're right. It is such an interesting topic. I feel like humans do seem to be wired to be quite negative thinking, and no matter how positive you may think that you are or you try to practice it, the mind is so sneaky, and it sits there with all this little chatter, and it's actually crazy once you really tap into that and realize, oh, that's not a nice thought, or I'm not being kind to myself.
Exactly. So I don't know, it can be negative. I mean, some of our talk can be quite supportive and evaluative and encouraging and that sort of thing. But I guess it's really being mindful of the negative talk that can get in our way and hinder our health and wellness. So I guess it's about when we've got that automatic negative thinking is another term that it's called, or rumination is another term that you'll see in literature. Like, there's just a few terms that are out there. Dr. Tasha Eurich really talks from a rumination point, and Jim Quick, he uses automatic negative thinking as that sort of his work. But what solutions, I don't know, do you find clients use to switch out of it? What do you use? Because we all do it. Let's put that out on the table.
Yes, we do. And I think it's, I've picked up on it can be very direct. So it can be I am, or I am not enough, or whatever it is. It's very direct. And there can be the subtle sort of the daily self-evaluation, or how you relate to yourself, and which is more, I should have done this, or I could have done that. So for me, and I feel like it often comes from, if you're a perfectionist or a high achiever, you're more likely to be harsh on yourself. So that's sort of where I'm coming from personally. I call myself a recovering perfectionist because I have always had a very high standard for myself. And so for me, the first step was becoming conscious and aware of that. Because without that awareness, you're never going to be able to make change. So it's just start to listen to your thoughts, essentially. I also like the saying, watch your thoughts. So allow them to come in. Don't hold on to that if it is that negative. Just watch it, become conscious of it. And then for me, I reframe it. Or I will speak to myself. So I might say, okay, that's enough of that. And I'll actually speak to it. And some people will give it a name, like that inner critic, they'll name it. I know that is strategies that some people use, but I just kind of call myself out and say, yeah, you know what? You actually achieved a lot today. You were actually not feeling well and you still got up out of bed and you still showed up and you did your best. And just turning into something positive. And also gratitude helps a lot for me. Like just going, oh, I'm grateful, you know, that maybe this fear is showing up and I'm seeing what it is and I'm letting it go.
That sounds really freeing, Carly.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's like it's almost like you're looking for what else does it mean? Like, is there another meaning that I could give it?
Yes. Yeah.
What do you do, Celeste? Sorry, Carly, you said it at the same time.
I guess pretty similar, really. Like, but getting that awareness, it actually, I don't think I was really consciously aware of that inner critic until I actually was coached the first time. And it was pointed out to me, and I suddenly realised that, oh wow, that's really bad. Like, and it's like it's just so destructive, and it's like, you know, I held myself back from having a go at different things because of this inner critic taking over, and so it's becoming aware of that and tuning in and being able to, I tell it to get in the back seat. So get out, get in the back. Yep. You don't get to drive this bus anymore. And but again, it's that, it still pops up. You're right. It does. It's an ongoing process of noticing it and putting it in its place. And that, and looking out to what else is around and what else is going on and what are the wins.
Yes.
And that quickly puts a different complexion on things, doesn't it?
Oh,
definitely.
What about you, Sue?
Because I'm a shocking one sometimes for ruminating, you know, and my rumination pattern is to go back to some past events sometimes. That's where I get my brain stuck in sometimes. So I probably don't do too much negative talk anymore. Like I've kind of, I don't know, somehow I've got on top of that by, you know, doing what I love and sort of being in that space these days where the world is, I don't know, like it's functioning the way I need it to be. I have a lot of control of it, so that for me works. But yeah, I can flip back into the past, and you know, because that was a lot of stuff where I had no control, and I think that's, you know, part of that rumination pattern, isn't it? It's because I couldn't control it. I wanted to get stuck in it again. But yeah, I think it is that, just noticing when I'm doing it now. And a client of mine does this fabulous thing where she notices that she's doing it. She then sets the timer on her phone and allows herself just a couple of minutes to dabble in it. And then the alarm goes off and she then does her distraction behaviours, so she stops it. Because she said, unfortunately, like for her, that past memory is something she still needs to go back to and think on sometimes, and those negative thinking she's having do still drive her a bit. So she will give it just a little bit of legs, but she won't give it too much legs that it derails her from her day and her function.
Yeah. And that's a great strategy. Yeah. Some
Yeah,
people,
and I was like, you know,
like, write it down. Is there a pattern? Can I explore this further? Sometimes it's a fear-based. We're telling ourselves things because we're scared. So if you can identify that, then you've got more in a better position to be able to make positive change.
Exactly. So there's all these strategies that, you know, people are using, you know, and that journaling and then burning it, that sort of thing as well that people do too. But I think for me it's, I just to notice it and then go, why am I getting stuck back in that thought? You know, I haven't had that one for a while. And typically it could just simply be because I'm a bit tired or a bit hungry. You know, so it's
the resources are depleted a bit, Sue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not working in my best space. Yeah.
So like when we're vulnerable, it comes up again, kind of thing.
Exactly. So that's why so then I can sort of pull myself away from what I'm doing and go, I need to go and eat, or I need to go and do that, or just go for a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Changes your state, doesn't it? Awesome.
Exactly. So it's one of those things I like that you can, you notice so you can change it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have any other clients that do clever things with it, guys?
One client did this, is that when they see it, they sort of create a goal, so they're working through it. So if it's fear-based, it might be, I can't do X, Y, Z. First of all, it's the reframing. I can't do this right now. And then the next step is setting a goal. Oh, well, I can't do this right now, but I'm going to work towards this particular task that I would like to be able to do.
Yeah.
At that point. So then you're working through it instead of just kind of parking it. So that's another strategy, yeah.
Because that working through point is so important, isn't it? Yeah, you gotta, it's that unpacking. So you have to notice it, write it down to unpack it, to go, what's the plan if it keeps coming up?
Yes.
Yeah. Because have you got any patterns of distractions that you do for yourself when you do find yourself doing the same thing over and over?
Usually I'll I think that going for a walk is a great thing, or getting up and moving and changing things. So it's noticing, again, it comes back to noticing it so that I can distract myself. Music is really good, because especially if it's something that you can have a bit of a dance to, because that completely switches it up.
That's exactly what I was just thinking, Celeste. I have previously, to shift energy is how I sort of frame it in my mind. To shift energy, I'll get up, I'll pop on music, I'll have a dance around, and just because it just pulls you out of your head. Yeah,
we're changing your physical state will actually change your emotional state, doesn't it? So too. So it's a really good one.
Otherwise, talking about it and just being really honest and open. Say, someone that you can trust, to say, hey, this is what's coming up for me and I can't seem to get out of this pattern of thinking over and over about it, and just having someone like a coach to be able to hold the space for you and listen is super helpful.
Exactly right. And I was just looking for this fabulous quote that, it talks about that whole, a few really clever people in the universe said it. It was Sue and Margaret Thatcher, and a few of them had said it, but it's along the lines of, you have to watch your thoughts because your thoughts becomes feelings. You have to watch your feelings because your feelings form who you are, and then
become habits, then become your character, and then become your personality, kind of thing.
And become your destiny. And you're like, wow, that's why it is so important for you to notice these thoughts and give yourself a break, and offer yourself that amount of kindness that you probably inevitably offer everybody else all the time unconditionally. You know, like, so I know, you know, Celeste and I talk a little bit, and Celeste, you know, I can tell Celeste things and she just, goes, right. And, you know, it's that sort of, oh, yeah, thanks, Sue. Like, she doesn't do anything with them. She doesn't judge it. She doesn't. And so it's that loveliness of having someone in your life that you can just tell stuff to and go, thanks, Celeste. Now that's out of my head. Like, I feel a little bit better.
Yes, a bit lighter.
And learning to even be that for yourself. Just compassionate, more loving, more understanding, more patient.
Yep.
More non-judgmental.
It's hard though, isn't it? In this world where we've got a lot of social media that's really, it is judging, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big one at the moment.
Which one was that?
Comparison.
Oh, yeah.
Because of social media, I find a lot of, especially like the younger demographic, they're constantly seeing on, you know, seeing what people's highlights.
Yeah.
And they're comparing what they're doing or what they've experienced to, you know, this online world, which we know is not entirely real.
Yeah, but it's still getting everyone's attention though, even though we know.
Yeah.
I don't know. What can we, like, is it just that because we can't just say don't look at it, because people are going to look at it.
Yeah. And some people are more inclined to look at it if you say don't look at it.
Exactly right. Celeste is owning that one. So what can we do? Like, I guess in these like final sort of few minutes that we have today, what can we do to encourage people out there to just be kind to yourself? You're a good person. You're doing great things. So, you know, be kind to yourself, cut yourself a break. Reduce the negative self-talk in your brain.
Well, I'm thinking if we are a person who's focused outwards a lot, and particularly if we see, you know, our self-talk kind of, it ties into our self-care really, doesn't it? So if we're not being kind to ourselves, we're not really caring for ourselves that well. So if you can see it in the context that caring for ourselves enables us to show up at our best for the other people that we're focused on. So that's can be a really helpful sort of reframe to think, oh yeah, like, you know, at the very least, everyone else is worth me looking after me. And then maybe it'll shift in time to that I'm worth looking after me. Because it all takes time to make these realizations and create the change. It doesn't just happen overnight. We don't just suddenly switch off that inner critic. It's a matter of practicing, isn't it?
Good work. I really like that reframing to, you know, being a self-care focus. I like that, Celeste. That's actually, that's really good.
Yeah, and it's so true. It is part of self-care.
But it doesn't come easily if you've not been in the way of it, does it?
No, it's something that we all need to practice, and it's like a lot of things. It's a continual practice, and you never know when it's going to show up. Just have the awareness, and if you have to talk to yourself and say, you know, I'm okay. I am happy. I love myself. Because that's what it comes down to. It comes down to just having that full love for yourself.
Yeah, exactly right. And pulling apart where you got distracted, and you know, and if you're not loving yourself and caring for yourself as well as you need to, so that you can be the best version of you, then like, why not? What's going on? And you know, get some people on, you know, if you're a people person, get your people on board who've got your back, you know, and if you're like a talker, get your talk on and go have a conversation with someone. If you're an introverted person, well, you might find peace in just doing some mindfulness practice, mightn't you, you know, to find your inner quiet voice as well. So, just Yeah, look, just take the time to notice is probably my big ticket item, isn't it?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
and
it.
be okay to like yourself.
Yeah.
It just popped into my head. Byron Katie, have you heard her talk at all? I heard
No.
her interviewed recently. Well, actually, it was a podcast,
Mm.
and she's one of these people a bit like Eckhart Tolle, who had that bit of an epiphany when he was in the really depths of despair, and she came up with this. I guess it's 4 questions to ask yourself when you think the chips are really down. Is to ask yourself first, is it true,
Yeah.
whatever I'm thinking or my belief is?
Mm.
And the next one is, can I absolutely, positively, absolutely know that it is true? And what would I be without that thought?
Mm.
And there was one more, and I can't remember it now, but it's basically like just it's just picturing letting go of that thought, and would it change me in any way?
Mm.
And that way we can let go of, if there's judgment of other people and what they've done or whatever, we can let that go, because it's all comes back to, like, who would I be if I didn't think that thought?
Mm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. It's I've got to get her book and have a read of it, but she sort of pushes your brain in different directions and
Oh,
challenges
Yeah.
my thinking.
yeah. Well, I mean, Eckhart Tolle, he had a whole period of enlightenment. And I guess that's that whole thing we're looking for, is that inner peace and that flow state where we accept everything, and we have that sense of everything's okay, and the universe is unfolding as it should, and we are safe and well within it. You know, but yeah, but those of us who are not enlightened, yes, we have to use other questions and reflections and practices, don't we?
That's it.
Yeah. So last few words to everybody out there about what you're going to do to keep aware of this inner critic.
Our final words, I think for me it is just come to that consciousness and awareness, however you can, even if it's just small things. And because the more that you practice that, the more that you'll be able to understand it and catch it instead of getting caught in it. So once you can have the awareness, that will make a huge difference. And then when you do, just try different things to reframe it, or to speak more positively, and just remember that you are okay, you are loved, and you have the power to change. So even if you believe it's true, you can change it.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Carly.
Awesome.
Be kind to yourself, reflect, and know that you're okay.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Well, this has been fabulous. And if you want to follow us and give us an email about what else you'd like us to talk about. And thank you, Carly, for being a fun friend today. Nice to have friends in healthcare.
Yeah.
Oh, we love it. We love having our friends along, don't we, Celeste?
We do. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we hope you come along another day and have another conversation with us about something.
Amazing. I would love to.
Thanks, Carly.
Thank you, Celeste. Thanks, everyone. We'll wave off and say, see you. Bye.